It's Parashat Chukat. Parashat Chukat deals, of course, the famous case with the Parah Adumah, with the red heifer, the whole laws of purification, deals with the death of Aaron. But Yosef, come here. But I would like to concentrate today on something that maybe we can learn from that personally as well. And that is the ordeal that when Bnei Yisrael came out of Mitzrayim, came out of Egypt, and they walked through the desert, as we did this morning from the Zohar. They drank from the be'er, from the well of Miriam. I was about to say the well of Esther, I don't know why. The well of Miriam, and the whole miraculous event of the water, how the water bubbled, and so on and so forth. And more than that, wherever they went, the well miraculously followed them to every place they go. And it was called after her Be'era Shel Miriam, the well of Miriam. This well not only it was miraculous in terms of the traveling that it did, but also according to the Ari, the well itself settled down in no other than the Sea of Galilee, and until certain generations they knew exactly where the well is. Just tell them to be quiet a little bit. They want to yell at home, not here. And they knew exactly where the place was, and so on. And there's a whole ritual that's brought in the Ari that you drink it, you get some kind of like initial wisdom, and so on and so forth. Now Miriam died, and with the death of Miriam, the well so-called disappeared. We have a whole entire nation in dire straits for water, great need for water. And it says, "Velo haya mayim la'eda," and the people did not have water. Vayikalu al Moshe va'Aaron, and they gather upon Moshe and Aaron. They surrounded them. Quite intimidating if you think about it. And they start to fight. Vayar Avraham and Moshe and Aaron. They start fighting with them. Argument. And as usual, they say, "Why did you bring us here? And they always use that term. Why did you bring Kehal Hashem, the community of Hashem, to this desert to die there?" We're going to repeat this statement later on, but this is somewhat of an introduction. Immediately Moshe is commanded by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, "Take that staff, you and Aaron your brother, and you should speak to the Selah, to the rock in front of them, and pay attention to the rock, Hasela, the bottom El Hasela, means a specific rock that it was there to the eyes, and that shall give the water, and you would withdraw water from the rock for them, and you would supply water for the whole congregation, the whole people." So therefore Moshe takes that staff, but instead of talking to the rock, he smacks it. He hits it twice, as the pasuk says, "Vayara Moshe et yado," and he lifted his hand, "Vayach et hasela b'mateu pa'amayim," twice. 1, 2. HaKadosh Baruch Hu immediately punishes Moshe and Aaron for their so-called betrayal of his words. And he says, "Yan kilo he'emantem bi," you did not have an emunah in me. Le'akdisheni, to sanctify me in the eyes of Bnei Yisrael. Therefore, you are not going to bring the people to this land in which I gave to you. Honestly, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? First of all, is this midah keneged midah? Is the punishment fits the crime? Well, what has to do with the other? It just doesn't make sense. Isn't it enough that a rock will take, will split and will bring water out? Is there enough of a miracle? Why is this? What's the big deal? I don't understand that. And Not only that, it was able to supply water to a whole people. It wasn't just like a little thing. It was flowing. It's like a mini Niagara Falls coming out of this thing. Everybody had water. This is an unbelievable sight. So I don't understand what was wrong with this miracle. Why is HaKadosh Baruch Hu being so, nitty-gritty with them? Give them a break. So Rashi explains that if Moshe would have spoken to the rock in front of Bnei Israel, in front of the people, and the rock would have been split in two, or would somehow provide them with water, Bnei Israel would have learned through Kal Vachomer. Kal Vachomer. What's Kal Vachomer? What if this is that, so therefore right? They would derive a conclusion, a logical conclusion, and they would say, what if this rock that does not speak, does not hear, has no need for parnasah, has no problem fulfilling the words of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kal v'chomer anu, without a doubt, we should do it as well. It's a learning. So the question is being asked, would it really happen that the rock would give the water after Moshe would have spoken to it? Why is it that I, as a human, a person that has emotions, feelings, desires, tests, what can I learn from this rock? What's the purpose of that? A rock does not have free choice. I have free choice. It just does not make sense. The explanation is that somewhere along the line, each and every one of us has a rock in his heart. There is a famous Israeli song that was written after the reunification of Jerusalem in 1967 that describes the quality of the Western Wall. And it's a line that, as a child, always shook me a little bit, gave me some kind of a trembling. Yesh anashim im lev shel even, yesh avanim im lev adam. There are humans with a rock of a heart, or a heart of a stone heart, and there are stones with a human heart. We also have a stone heart, a little rock inside of us. And it says the Navi Yecheskel, Ezekiel, chapter 37, verse 36, verse 26. 36:26. He says, "V'asiroti et lev ha'even mikirvechem," and I shall remove the heart of stone from you, from within. So therefore, we do have that. Sometimes we are stone heart, hard. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe, if you would have spoken to the rock, you would have done something miraculously. You would have given koach in creation. You would give koach bavriya in creation itself. That when you speak to a heart of stone, it changes. And therefore there was no need to punish it. Do you understand what is happening here? If you would have spoken to the rock, you would have changed the way we interact. You would speak to someone who is doing something wrong, and it would be changed. You don't need this whole punishment. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not want to punish us, but sometimes we give him no chance. And that's what he wanted. Well, one of the things that he wanted to teach them. You would have changed creation as it is today. It's an amazing concept. Amazing. Think about that. So he tells somebody, listen, why don't you get up in the morning? Okay, I'll get up. Why don't you keep Shabbat? Well, why should I? Oh, because, okay, fine, I'll take it to heart. I'll change it. It's not a problem. They don't need to get slapped. We would have not probably left the country. We would have been stayed in Eretz Israel. Never would have left it. We will build one Bet HaMikdash, one temple. It would stay forever. Look at what happened to us because our heart is so hard. It's stiff. We say to a person who is cruel, wow, you don't have a heart. Have a heart, man. So what does he have here? He has a rock inside of him. Think about that. Maybe now you could see the magnitude of that missed opportunity that we had. By doing so, he would have opened human hearts to listen to one another, to listen to the voice of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to be good. He wants you to have it good. But we don't listen and we get zapped. Not to punish us, to put us back in track. Without Moshe would have done this, there would not be any warnings. There would be no need for warnings. There would not be punishments because there's no need for punishment. When Moshe hit the rock with his staff, in a way, he caused a little blemish in the interaction of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and maybe somewhat a downgrade in Chas v'Shalom, but of HaKadosh Baruch Hu power in this world. Because right now, if I tell you something and you care about what I tell you, you would change your ways or you would listen to what I tell you. But if you don't listen, I will have to punish you. That means not that I have the authority and the ability to punish you. That means that my words to you don't mean much. So in a way, he kind of made a little dent in the velocity of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world. And that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "Leman ki lo ha'emantem bi," you didn't believe in me. We'll talk a little bit about this. That from now on, logic is not going to be good enough. In order to remove the person from his bad ways, we need to give him smacks. It's like you're driving on a road and you have the rails, on the side. So when you vary from the road and you hit this, you get a bump, a hit. So you're not going to come and actually complain there to this rail because it was really saving your life. Because if there was no rail, you will go down. That zetz, that bang, that's the punishment to put us back into track. We all have the abilities to reach the highest highs. All the powers of creation is rooted into us. We can find within ourselves to have the ability to be like a tiger, azka namer, ratzka tzevi, be mighty as fearful as a tiger, light as a deer, mighty as a lion, light as an eagle. All this quality inside of us, but we also have a heart of stone. Moshe Rabbeinu lost the opportunity to teach the people how creation works. There's no such thing as punishment in this world, only to humans. Moshe Rabbeinu lost the opportunity to explain to us how things work. There are other explanations. For example, from those, as they say, Pashut Pshat, a straightforward explanation is there was a prohibition of Moshe Rabbeinu to use the staff. And the problem was not that he didn't speak, is rather that he hit the staff. And it's something that happens to us all the time, and we're mesmerized by things like this, right? Because that staff was captured in the mind of the Jews as a staff of magic. We all love Harry Potter. I mean, not we. most of you, I don't like Harry Potter. There's something, just not right with me. I mean, I wouldn't mind to fly on a broom, but save me a lot of gas. But I think my keeper will fly. So, but nevertheless, the people saw the staff as the instrument to do magic, and that the power of Moshe came from the staff, not understanding how things work. Those magic, even the servants of Paro could have done magic, and other idol worshippers could have done magic as well. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not want Moshe Rabbeinu to do another magical thing. He wanted to educate the people to the emunah, in the belief that there is a God out there that listens to your prayers. It's an opportunity. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to teach us a lesson. He listens to your prayers. There's no water. He speaks to it. Boom, water comes out. Not to go back to the old, tricks and magical things that he used to do. That's for the pharaohs. That's for the Egyptians. That's not for us. For you, there's something else. It's a different limud. And by the way, we are not cured from that. We like to go to all kind of magic doers. We're always mesmerized by these guys who can, make the Empire State Building disappear. All kind of garbage. From that kind of garbage to, some person who calls himself a rabbi that does magics and they can tell the future and all kind of shtiyot kale. Nobody can tell the future. The future is only saved for God. No humans can tell the future. So Moshe was commended to speak to the rock to convince the person, the people, that tefillah, even that by prayer, even a rock could bring about water. That's the power of tefillah. Pray. It's unbelievable. But instead of that, he brings a stick. He hits the thing, the rock. And that educational opportunity to teach the people vaporized, was gone. Even if things are bad or something not pleasant happened, you could turn it and root it into a positive track if you would teach your children or teach the people how to deal with it, how to make good out of it. And Moshe lost this opportunity. Because of that, he was punished. Yes, the people got water. The people had water to drink. But it was clear that our leader sometimes, and I will say it in parentheses, he also has moments of lack of emunah. Don't jump at me. Don't jump at me. I would explain. And because of that, he's no different than them not to enter the land. It's a very powerful statement. Many religions will never try to portray their leaders as people who make mistakes. Judaism does not have a problem doing that. Maybe it goes to the old self-beating of the Jews. The Jews like to torture themselves, to beat themselves up, and so on and so forth. There's nothing to worry about. There are plenty of people who will do it for free. We don't need to edit. But, it's a Jewish thing. But more than that, it's just to show you that our leaders are leaders. They're not gods. God, there's only one. We all humans. We all make mistakes. Regardless of how big you are, you make a mistake. And it's not a problem to say, I made a mistake. But we need to remember that here we are still talking about the same people, the same serial complainers. And believe me, we all have a part in these people. There were complaining about sira basar, that pot roast, which I guess that's why Jews like to make briskets and pot roast for Shabbat. If you go to the supermarket, the number one thing is pot roast. Whatever it is, listen, we're all Jews, Pot roast. They were starting from that. After that, they want to do the slav, the peasants. I don't know, pheasants. I'm sorry, peasants. Peasants, yeah. They want the pheasants or the slav or the quail that they ate in the desert, and from that they saw the meraglim, the same complaining, and they saw Korach. And guess what? This whole ordeal is over, and they are striking again. The empire strikes again. The complainers strike again. They never stop. And the complaining, regardless of the fact that they saw in their own eyes 15,000 people of their own nations die in a plague because of Korach, because of this terrible complaint. They don't care. They keep on complaining. Sounds familiar. And there's something fundamental that is wrong here. Really fundamental that is wrong here. And it seems like they are worried, they are concerned. What's going to be? What's going to happen? Miriam is dead, we're not going to have water. Wait a second, right now what's going to be? No, always problems. Have a little bit of emunah. And right away, the same old complaint. Why did you bring us to the desert to die? The same thing again. So it doesn't make a difference to those people. It does not make a difference what solution you would come up with. They're not interested in hearing a solution. They're not interested in fixing things. They want to maintain a certain status quo that they can always kind of complain. It happens in countries all the time. In nations, it happens all the time when you have two frictions that they claim that they have a problem and they make the problem big, and they really, between themselves, when they go close the door, let's not solve the problem, because if we solve the problem, we have nothing to complain. If we have nothing to complain, nobody would vote for us. That's what they do all the time. They're not interested in solving problems. They're interested in complaining. They are complaining addicted. They're addicts to complaints. Maybe we should start a Complainer Anonymous. I'm a complainer and I'm recovering complainer. One of those things. It's an addiction. In the world of the person who is a believer, idle complaint has no place. Complain because I want to make things better. I would like to learn more. I would like to be a better person. Why I'm not a better person? All right, so let me do something about it. But don't complain that you don't have no time to learn. Oh, I want to learn. I love to learn so much. And all of a sudden, HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes it that you hit the jackpot. And all of a sudden, you have supposedly all the time, all of the world, no worries. And you'll find something to complain about. Now that you have so much money that you can't even sleep at night because you don't know what to do with it. Huh? I can't hear you. Yeah, bring it. Yeah, I know. So, HaKadosh Baruch Hu again, as we say, tells them to go in, and Moshe does it. But Moshe here, listen to his words. He says to them, Shimuna hamorim. Listen to what I tell you. Hey, you guys, listen to me. He's angry. He's angry. Shimuna hamorim. Ha'im min hasela hazeh notzi lachem mayim. You want us to take water from this rock? He's angry. Okay. So he's angry. What's the big deal? He's angry. Anger, according to the Mefarshim, says it stems from Avodah Zarah. And I'll tell you, it's quite harsh to blame Moshe Rabbeinu and Avodah Zarah, but we need to understand that statement. The statement is that when I am in harmony with myself, when I'm in a situation when I have bitachon, so therefore the byproduct of that emunah is joy, simcha. But when the byproduct is anger, something in the system does not operate right. Something in the emunah is blemished. So therefore we need to ask, is the emunah of Moshe Rabbeinu blemished? What? Moshe Rabbeinu did not believe in God? I mean, say it to anybody. But Moshe Rabbeinu, no. Absolutely not. So therefore we need to see what it is. In which emunah Moshe Rabbeinu did not have it complete. Listen, Moshe Rabbeinu could have gone to the people. He could have yelled at them. He could say, listen guys, let's have a meeting. Let's talk. Let's form a search committee. We'll interview some the local wells. We'll get some Bedouins. We put in Google Map. Something. You see, it agrees with me. And he didn't do that. He could have told them also, listen guys, how dare you do that? He didn't do this either. Instead of that, he was angry. And he lost his emunah. But he lost his emunah not in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He lost his emunah in the people. He lost the emunah in the people, in the ability of the people to come to the land as a nation of believers. Ke'amah means a nation of believers, as a free nation that is going to be able to deal with all the challenges that a free nation has to deal with. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, what's going to be with his people? They're not going to make it. They're not going to make it. And he's angry. He says, these people are never going to make it. It's something genetically defective in these people. It doesn't make a difference what they see. It doesn't make a difference how many people die. There's something messed up with this. These people would not enter. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, hey, listen, relax, buddy. They're my people. You don't believe that they're going to enter? You don't believe that they have the ability to enter? Guess what? You are not going in. That's midah keneged midah. That's the measure against the measure. You better watch out before you speak about the Jews. I don't care who you are. They are God's people. Even when they don't behave. It's like a father that has a child that went off the beaten path. He's still his child. He might not be happy with his actions. He might be upset with his actions. He might even hate his actions. But he always loves his son. You maybe don't know that because some of you are not parents yet. You wait and see. That's the job of a parent as well. To be there by his child when he's not doing well. To see the child that he loves when he's not doing well. To love the problematic child because that is a part of him, of you. He's your image. There's another Perush. It's a quite revolutionary Perush. Let me just see, what time is it? We're doing okay. Let's just think about it. Moshe Rabbeinu is called the loyal shepherd, Ro'eh Ne'eman. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, listen, speak to the rock in order for, to the water come out. Why would he do that? Why would he not go to the rock and do what God says? He goes and deliberately hits it, according to this Perush. He does that. It says, Vayakeh basela, and he hit it. He didn't say touched it. He said, Vayakeh. He went angry. He went like those guys who samurai. Wow! He hit it hard. I don't know how the step didn't break. I hit it hard. In a way, it's like a person that in anger throws something. You don't just throw it like this. You throw it with all your power. 100 miles an hour ball you throw there. The reason is very simple. Because the rock, if the rock would have done what Moshe Rabbeinu told you, get water out, the rock would have done this. What would that say about Bnei Israel? What would that say about Bnei Israel? It would say, listen, he gave him man, he saved the children, took him out of Egypt, he led them here, and they're still complaining. Look, he told them, guys, listen, behave. They don't listen. He tells the rock to listen. That's in a way the opposite of what we said earlier. He said the rock opened up. The rock opened up. Now this would make the Jews look horrible. Even rocks here, don't we say, right? What do we say when about that's what we learn to make the whip, you know? Even an ox knows his owner, and a donkey knows who feeds him. And you don't know? Then it would be an opening to criticize the Jews. A rock listens to what Moshe Rabbeinu says. You don't? So I'm going to tell you what he does. Moshe realizes he doesn't want the Jews to look ungrateful. Therefore, he had no other choice. And he took the anger of God upon himself. He hits the rocks. And he hits the rock to show that in a way the rock should have done it by himself to the Jews without Moshe telling him. In a way, Moshe is doing is committing a suicide almost. He's sacrificing himself for the sake of the people. He does not allow the opportunity to come that the Jews would be punished. Instead of that, he fails it himself. You know, it's an unbelievable concept. We find something similar, some people say, about the Meraglim. Some Mefarshim said regarding the spies that the reason they did what they did is because they knew, I mean, these are not regular people. They knew how holy and wonderful and awesome the land is, and they knew that the Jews will come in and they might violate it. And they said, what's a little crime if we will do to save the rest of the people? Because they did not also believe in the ability of Am Yisrael to do God's will in the land. So they lied. Just a little, teeny little lie. But as we said in the morning, there's no difference between a little lie and a big lie. A lie is a lie. If the word is suspended on blima, on a point of balance, finer than the tip of a needle, when you have Aleph on one side, and we have Taf on the other side, and that's the Aleph bit, right? And the Mem is the middle letter. Even a feather will tip the balance. A lie is a lie. Get punished. It's not up to you to decide. You have a job to do. And that's what Moshe got punished. You have a job to do. What Am Yisrael will do, that's not your job. But Moshe does something noble here. He says, you know what, I'll take it upon myself. And he takes it and he saves in a way. According to that, he saves Am Yisrael, which is an unbelievable concept. Think about this. He was mamash moser nefesh. But the Midrash says also that the Midrash say that Moshe did speak to the rock. But he spoke to the wrong one. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, speak to the rock, the rock. So Moshe Rabbeinu went and he spoke to the rock, and when water didn't come out, he hit. Water didn't come out, he hit another rock next to it. Twice he hit it, and then the water came out. Because he hit the wrong rock. Because he spoke to the wrong rock. In other words, maybe this is where the expression came, you barking in the wrong tree came. You talking to the wrong rock. What does it tell me? Many times, like Moshe Rabbeinu, we speak to the wrong rock. Many times we think that we know what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from me, what God wants from me. Many times we are wrong and we think that we know what life wants from us. What does the future hold for me? And then, and I made a typo, and then, I was doing okay until that. And then I concentrate only on that fact that I think that this is what I need to do. I only think about that. That's the only thing I talk about, I think about, I wake up with it, I sleep with it. By doing so, I disregard everything else around me. I start living in a world of fantasy, of dreams. And when things don't work out, I start to act. And what do? I act according to what I thought it would be. I hit it. And when this doesn't happen, I hit again. And when that doesn't happen, I get disappointed. We have to remember, and this is a crucial key to your life, you don't choose the rock or any other task of your life that comes to you in your life according to size, according to color, according to any other criteria. But we need to, in order to succeed, we need to deal with the rock which comes to us right now, and this moment, to realize that the rock in which I'm talking to, maybe the rock in which the head in the water came out was a little boulder like this. Moshe, according to the Midrash, went to the rock. That's the rock. Not realizing it's right here in front of you. And that's what we do many times. Only then, when we deal with what is in front of us, not on the speculations or being stuck in the fantasies that this could have happened and this should happen according to my calculation, only that, things will happen by themselves. Everything will fall into its place, one piece at a time, into a perfect scenario, into a picture perfect. This is the mistake that we all make. But if you just look at the parasha, as we usually do, you will miss a key component of how to deal with the hardship of life, with the challenges that will come through you to life. You would miss an opportunity to understand what is emunah and what is idol worshipping. And idol worshipping also is like idol complaining. And we'll repeat the same mistakes again. We repeat the same pattern over and over again. And then we fail on a mission. And we never reach the promised land. And we inherit bad habits to our children, that if they would inherit the promised land, they will be losing it because of the bad habits that we had provided them with. So Yeh Ratzon will be God's will, that we'll be able to see His way, to accept what He gave us, and to walk in the path of Torah, in the path of Emunah, to the promised land. Amen. Amen.